Incursions, Skrull invasions, Spider-Verse shenanigans? What next? We know we are getting a show centered around a version of Secret Invasion, a Marvel event involving a covert Skrull invasion of Earth, and incursions have been alluded to in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. The Spider-Verse has been exploding since Into the Spider-Verse and beyond, but what could possibly be coming next when it comes to Marvel comic book events? And which comic book events would we even most want to see come to life in the MCU? Let's talk about that. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. I'm your host Amanda McKnight, and this is Top 10 Nerd. Today we'll be counting down the top 10 Marvel events we want in the MCU. Number 10. Infinity Wars. Infinity is a word you want to get familiar with when it comes to Marvel events. It comes up a lot. So does the word war, actually. Infinity Wars is not to be confused with Infinity War, which was a 1992 event that was already reinterpreted for the MCU. Infinity Wars is an event from 2018 where Gamora ends up gathering the Infinity Stones for her own purpose, becoming a villain, and taking up the name of Requiem. She ends up defeating Thanos and Adam Warlock using the stones, and also traps all of her universe in the Soul Gem, folding it in half and merging the souls of all its beings therefore together to create the pocket dimension known as Warp World. While Gamora goes on her own quest and other multiversal heroes attempt to stop her, in Warp World, Loki bands together his own team of heroes, setting on a mission to retrieve the Warp World version of the Infinity Stones so that they might save the world and defeat Devondra, a soul-devouring villain within the Soul Gem, who would feed basically on all their souls. If, they didn't do anything about it. Eating people's souls. Number 9. Avengers Vs X Men. Oh boy, I have a lot of feelings about this event. It's kind of complex, but ultimately though, the idea of Avengers and X-Men needing to duke it out over something, despite both being heroic groups who should in theory therefore be on the same side, it's tantalizing to me, that idea. There are some things about the way this event was executed that I'm not here for, but overall I think the premise is super interesting, and like Civil War, which came before it, I think the idea of heroes getting into a conflict with each other is quite compelling, especially with two groups that are, as iconic as Avengers and X-Men when it comes to Marvel. In Avengers vs X-Men, these two teams face off because the Phoenix Force is headed for Earth, specifically Hope Summers, the mutant messiah who is now all grown up, having been raised through time by Cable. The X-Men are willing to wait and see what happens, but the Avengers do not want Hope to become the Phoenix, and are vehemently anti-Phoenix. Iron Man is unable to destroy the Phoenix, and his attempt only succeeds in splitting the entity into 5 parts, which bond with other mutants and create the Phoenix 5. A bunch of crazy stuff happens, but in the end, Hope merges with the Phoenix and finds herself overwhelmed by power. Avengers Scarlet Witch and X-Men Hope Summers come together to banish the Phoenix Force in the end, seemingly destroying it. For a while, at least. You can't really ever get rid of the Phoenix Force, it always comes back. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you are loving the channel, please head on over to Facebook, where we also are, and give us a like and follow and do all the fun Facebook stuff. We've also lots of cool Facebooky things coming for you. In a good way, not coming for you in a bad way, just to be clear. Number 8. 10 of Swords. 10 of Swords was such a ridiculous and fun event. Oh my goodness, what a roller coaster. I loved this event. It was not quite what I expected it to be, and yet in other ways, it kinda was. X of Swords, pronounced 10 of Swords in relation to the tarot card, is a mutant event about a contest of champions that is held to settle a dispute between the mutants of Krakoa and the mutant and Amenthi of Araco. The two sides each have their own champions prophesied for them, with each needing to present the right prophesied matching blade in order to compete. So of course, going into this, you'd think it's going to be a dueling contest. It's definitely going to be a dueling contest, there's going to be lots of sword fights. But hey, it's so much more than that. They have contests of all kinds, and being that the White Witch, Opal Luna Saturnine of the Starlight Citadel, is in charge of it, it's just mainly a really weird and wild time that ends up in just a straight, all-out battle, which is also really epic. So yeah, what an experience. Also for that event, I read almost everything leading up to it, so that was a fun event for me. I was really invested. Number 7. King in Black. King in Black was an epic event years in the making. Leading up to it, we also had another exhilarating event, Absolute Carnage. The premise for King in Black was that Null had finally awoken and was on his way to Earth. King in Black was about the short but building tension as the heroes of Earth awaited Null's arrival, and then what finally happened when he did arrive to Earth. Mainly, I think many of us want to see this event because we want to see Null, god of symbiotes, and all his symbiote dragons, which are also super cool and powerful. Number 6. Infinity. An event that holds a special place in my heart is Infinity. When it comes to modern events, it was one of the first ones that I read, and I read it because I was reading Captain Marvel at the time and I needed to know what happened next with Carol. So I kind of just fell into it and, didn't read a lot of the context for this event, and yet surprisingly came out the other side with a lot of love and appreciation for this event, despite not being deeply invested in all of those other titles. Infinity is where we see the Avengers and really all of Earth as well as the universe face certain doom. Dun dun dun, as per usual with most cosmic events, when they face off with the universe's oldest race, the Builders. The Builders are looking to basically wipe the universe clean, traveling around the cosmos and destroying various worlds. This isn't so much because they are intrinsically evil or anything, but because they claim they created the worlds and civilizations, and now it is their responsibility in a sense to destroy them and finish that cycle. Meanwhile, on Earth, our heroes believe that Thanos is attempting to once again unite the Infinity Gems, but it's revealed that he's really trying to locate his mysterious son, who we later know to be Thane, so that he can destroy Thane, which is also a big part of this event. Infinity leads into Time Runs Out, which leads into Secret Wars, and so it's also an intricate part of that bigger story. Number 5. Time Runs Out. Time Runs Out is an event that bridged the gap between Infinity and Secret Wars. The Illuminati already know that the incursions are on their way, and this event sees them and different heroes attempt to tackle this issue head on. Everyone has their own approach. Some heroes plan to destroy any other universes on a collision course with theirs, others look for a way to prevent the incursions happening altogether, not wanting to, destroy other universes, and even still, some are forced to prepare for what seems to be, basically at this point, inevitable. In the midst of all this, Captain America and Iron Man are also on opposite sides once again, with Cap and the Avengers fighting against Iron Man and the Illuminati. And as if the Illuminati wasn't radical enough in their attempts to deal with the incursions, Namor also splinters off from the group to create his own, even more extreme group known as the Cabal, who are willing to do whatever it takes to stop the incursions. Number 4. House of M. House of M is another great event, one that dramatically changed the world, which is actually kind of rare for events, although a lot of them, claim to change the entire world or the narrative of comics for years to come. Most events don't actually live up to that claim very much. House of M did though. In this story, Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, suffers a mental break after her children are taken from her, and she learns of how that was basically all covered up. Yeah, not a great look. Feeling isolated and alone, Scarlet Witch creates an alternate world where she attempts to make many prominent friends, allies, and heroes happy by giving them what she believes they want. However, when it is revealed that this world is not real but was created by Wanda, the heroes choose to rebel against her. Disappointed by everyone's reaction and frustrated beyond belief that people still see her as a danger and a monster despite her intent here, Scarlet Witch utters 3 devastating words: no more mutants. Yeah, that's what you get, Magneto. That's what you get. Being so awful, and she's like, I tried to give you everything and you're still not happy with me. Jeez. Number 3. Secret Wars. 2015 Secret Wars is another event we need to have in the MCU, especially with the implications we have in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I don't even know how you write events like this into the comics anymore, because any hints you drop as a screenwriter have to be massive implications. At least that's how fans are going to interpret it as to what's going to come next. So you must need someone like Feige either tweaking after the fact when it comes to scripts, or you must be going into it with the idea communicated to you before, what's going to be happening and coming up, so you have to somehow write that into your script. I don't know. We learn in Multiverse of Madness that incursions are something that could be headed our way and are a huge threat. When it comes to Secret Wars, That's what this event basically spins out of. And time runs out, the incursions ended up happening despite everyone's attempts to stop them. However, Dr. Doom stepped up to the plate, utilizing the powers of Molecule Man and his own confidence and ego to save the world by creating his own battle world, a patchwork version of all the realities in the multiverse that combined together. In the end, Reed Richards would take the power of Molecule Man from Dr. Doom to undo his handiwork and return the multiverse to relative normalcy instead. But it was quite a wild ride. That whole event is pretty bonkers. I'm here for it if we get it. Number 2. Hellfire Gala. I mean, you know how much I love some fancy nerd fashion, and I also just love the elegance and drama that is this very mutant-based event. Now granted, to have the Hellfire Gala, we're going to, need mutants in the MCU, but we know at some point that is coming to us. The question is just, when? When is that coming? Hopefully soon. Hellfire Gala is a new seemingly yearly event which varies in scale. Last year it spanned all mutant books pretty much, and saw the mutants open up the island of Krakoa to welcome dignitaries, celebrities, heroes, and villains from the world and galaxy all over to visit and, well, basically just kind of show off. The Hellfire Gala is hosted mainly by Emma Frost, one of the heads of the Hellfire Trading Company. This year it will be opened up even more, with non-mutant superhumans also getting in on the red carpet / fashion aspect of the event, attending in outfits that highlight their iconic look, but that also slay at the same time. Very important. Number 1. DC vs Marvel. I think I can confidently say that this is an event we'd all love to see take flight. I know this because every time we talk about Amalgam comics or Amalgam characters, there is just so much love, support, and celebration amongst you, our Nerd Squad community, in the comments. That's right, I keep an eye on the comments every now and then. I'm there, I'm just watching. And I love Amalgam too. I love how fun it is, I love the idea of these two similar but seemingly opposing worlds coming together to duke it out, only to realize that they actually maybe they need to actually band together. Maybe they're both cool. Maybe they can just shake hands at the end. The premise for the event was that two cosmic entities that represented each respective universe decided to challenge each other to find out which universe was better. They would create challenges for each world's champions to test both sides, and whichever one came out on top would get to remain, while the other world would be eliminated, ceasing to exist thereafter. What are some of your favorite Marvel events that you'd like to see in the MCU? Which events are your favorite to reread and revisit in the comics? What about any crossovers? How do you feel about crossovers? After all, there are tons of wild combinations that could be really cool. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. Until next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.